art in the schools because we want to talk about art in our future and in our education. We have 4 great guests. Let me quickly do introductions. We'll start with Gina Martinez, Rebuild Foundation. To her left is Kababi, Bayak, I'm sorry.
Either one.
I'm sorry. Sweet Art and 365 Days with Dad. And Celea Miranda Ewan with Bellas Artes. And also Lisa Harper Chang with the Regional Arts Commission, Community Arts Training. We talked about you earlier, but like you weren't here. Okay, so Ed just mentioned education, a specific idea of talking about nature. I want to bring up something that my friend who is an elementary arts teacher told me that he loves STEM. He'd like to talk about STEAM. I think you can. Is that a real thing? Where does art belong in our education system, and does it need improvement? I'll open it up.
Well, we actually were talking about this, and I think art, first of all, actually, when I saw this in the cup here, igniting the spirit of possibility. And when you talk about STEM, science, technology, engineering, math,
right.
I think the art is the spirit that goes in between that. Because why do you have technology? You have that as kind of the spirit of possibilities. You have this artistic inspiration even to create any building or any technology for itself. So I think art is what is innate to human being. It's what makes us connect to each other, and things that are created have meaning. So in some ways, that is how I see the art within the STEAM.
And I think what we're seeing is that the market today really rewards creativity and critical thinking. And so it's troubling to see that arts programs within institutions of learning are being eradicated because of budget cuts. And because a lot of research has shown that arts programs involvement really lead to better outcomes for youth. And we see that in higher civic engagement, better achievement scores, more college attendance, as well as obtaining more employment. And it runs across socioeconomic classes. And so you see youth in lower income neighborhoods actually performing higher when they are involved in arts programs.
Yeah, no? What do you think?
Oh, yeah. I think a creative practice, too, is about looking inward, or like a journey inward. And I think that, schools really should be supporting kids to educate themselves. And I think that oftentimes schools operate in a way that has to do with fear, like fear to have the right fear of not having the right answer, or fear of not scoring well on a test, or not honoring the way that different people learn, some very visually, some very kinesthetically. And I think that art and just any kind of creative process that would support an education would just reach further in terms of what, how students would connect to subject matter and apply that to their lives in really real ways.
Kababi, you're nodding your head.
Because I was looking for an N that I could relate to. And we was talking about STEAM earlier, and my kids go to Montessori, and I knew nothing about it till I had children. But I got one of my son, my 10-year-old, is deep into Legos, super creative. But he really lit up when he went to Lego robotic camp this summer. So I see the necessity in all of it. I come from I'm an artist, I love to do it. Leave me alone, let me paint. But I see that it really has so much to do with just personality. School, a lot of times, seems to be all about creating a formula in a human being and spitting them out to fit into the right cog. And a lot of people are losing. And I just tonight doing math with him, I saw him just getting super frustrated over something simple. But he can do these crazy things with Legos. So if he could figure out a way to use technology or use his artistic side to figure out this problem, I think frustration leads to a lot of problems. Things that are just easily can be overcome with just finding out who the individual is and using their strength. But
not everyone is born with the gifts that you have. Is this something that can be taught?
See, I wasn't good till college, though. That's the only thing. That's why I always tell kids, if they saw my drawings when I graduated high school, because I was one of those that never really I didn't really care about school. You know, I did what I needed to do to stay out of trouble. With my mom, I mean, you know, I got the right amount of grades and this, that, and the other. But after that, it was just sure. And I majored in art out of fear, not knowing what else to do after high school, but I knew I could draw a little bit. So, and then just practice got me to where I am. I don't believe in, it's completely innate. I think a lot of it was born in me, but you know, I think a lot of people can achieve things just with drive, you know.
Yeah. And I think we believe that there's creative potential in everybody, and it's just a matter of how that's expressed, whether that's through painting or through cooking, right, or through storytelling, that everybody has a way to express that.
Mm-hmm. And I think like we have two types, like our brains, the right side, the left side. And I think intelligence is not only what is considered rational on the left side of the brain. When you really use both sides, the creativity and the rationality, is when you really reach out to highest potential of any person. So I think that inhibiting this aspect of connecting the art with the science, technology, engineering, or math, it's an illusion, because we are a whole being. We are not just one side of our brain. And I think art is what humanizes us as well, is what connects us. Mm-hmm. And that is pretty much the purpose why I deal with art, and I founded my multicultural center. It was to connect people and cultures through the art expression.
So you all, are you optimistic about arts in our region? Where do you, and this appreciation for the value?
Absolutely. I mean, we're talking about just the economic value of the arts. It's a $500 million industry here in the St. Louis region, and responsible for creating close to 20,000 full-time equivalent jobs in the region, which is amazing when you think about where we are, the state of our economy overall. And beyond that, you really see some profound transformation happening on an individual, institutional, and community level when you see artists working in communities across sectors and really committed to social change for the region.
Are you seeing it have an effect on social change? Do you see that happening? Art?
I do think that the art is, here in St. Louis, especially in the past 5 to 7 years, we see the public art and the several places that are using the art. For me, it's almost raising the quality of life, making the region more welcoming. And we need to attract more people to the region so it can also be more developed, and we have more jobs or more things going on here. But people who want to move to a new place, they want to have a quality of life that I think that is what the arts would enhance even more what we see here in the city as well as in the county.
We'll have to leave it there because we have to go back to social media, and let's do that now. Thank you very much, guys. Well said. Thanks. I don't. Were you able to hear the question that came in from Twitter? By the way, Todd Swanstrom, welcome back to the show from the University of Missouri, St. Louis. What do you see the role of art in education? Did you see the component of nature playing a role in that?
Yes, I mean, the arts are, creativity is incredibly important in the modern, global economy. People have to be able to think outside the box. As Cynthia said, when you scribble outside the lines, you think you're doing the wrong thing, but in fact, thinking outside the box is important, and the arts open you up that way. It's absolutely crucial to have an educated citizenry to have the arts part of it.
You've been on the show a few times, and a lot of times we talk about story, our story in St. Louis, what we tell ourselves about ourselves. What's our art story, and is it different than the one we believe?
Well, I think that we are a fragmented community in many ways. Let's be frank. And one thing the arts can do is bring people together. I mean, it really can. I mean, somebody may have racial prejudice or fear immigrants or whatever, but the arts, they'll enjoy blues music. They'll consume art. They'll go to a gallery in Old North. They'll enjoy art. So arts can really bridge those kinds of divides. And I think it's very important in St. Louis to have something that can bring people together. The other thing I'd say is that St. Louisans, my experience is that St. Louisans hesitate to really debate and really disagree. They're too polite in a way.
I don't agree with you. I don't
Well,
agree
this is my experience, but yeah, you may be different. But I think this project of Henry's, what the hell is St. Louis thinking, is a great way to open people up and to open the dialogue where people otherwise might hesitate. Maybe I'm not an expert in this, but the arts say to you, what are you thinking? Just be creative. Think about it. Tell us what's on your mind, and don't censor yourself with a sense of what's right or wrong, but get it out. Cynthia Redmond Jenkins is doing an art installation at the Rock Road Transit Station, where we're going to try to do some transit-oriented development around the station. It's a way to get the community to give us some feedback on what they'd like to see and to engage them. Sometimes it's hard to get people to really speak up.
I love it when you give us your vision of the future. Can you do that in the context of art for us tonight?
Well, I think that the arts are going to participate in the revitalization of the city. That we have a city that lost over 500,000 people in a half century. We have all this empty space, and artists are great pioneers, and I think we're going to see them leading the way, and hopefully not just to gentrify neighborhoods. As Bill Cleveland said, it may result in just another upper middle class neighborhood where the artists are pushed out. Hopefully it'll be a place where you can have artists and you can have people of different income levels and diversity in the same neighborhood. So my vision of St. Louis is that this is going to help revitalize many of these places that have been left behind and are empty now. And I see it as happening.
Are people buying into this outside of the folks who are in this room tonight? I mean, everyone here would, I believe, get on board with you. Are the others in the community who are vital to this revitalization you're talking about? Are they seeing the value of an art?
I think they're becoming engaged. There's kind of two kinds of arts. There's the high arts, the arts on a hill, literally the art museum on the hill, right? And then there's the embedded arts. And the embedded arts are what we're talking about tonight. And as people engage and participate in it, I think we'll have a much more dynamic art scene in St. Louis.